Welcome back to Bash Bros in episode 85 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW Let's Play series where we find out what exactly would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. It is the Fallout show for the Frostbite pay-per-view. Yes, in-game year 2023 is knocking. Who's at the door? It's 2023. What is up with me? See, I've gotten into the habit of recording late at night now, because it's quieter and there's less distractions and I can do stuff during the day. And so I get a little bit weird when I'm tired and recording. As you will soon find out, probably by the fourth run of this episode recording session. So with all pay-per-view Fallout shows, we will recap the pay-per-view, we will look at the storylines going forward, and on top of that, it is the return of the P12 tonight. I will actually show you the blocks before the show tonight, just so you can see who is in them. And as always, we will go over the news. So here is the Frostbite pay-per-view. It got a 72 overall, which was very, very good. We had Rey Fenix defeat Sonico in a last man standing match to kind of wrap up that feud. Both of those men will actually be in the P12, so they'll fight one more time, but in terms of it being its own rivalry, it's done and dusted. We also then had Maki Ito just barely retain against Crazy Mary Dobson with a flash roll-up. This feud will be going on for a while with the return of Mad Marley Quinn down the line. CCK versus Filthy Generation is also wrapped up. Christian was supposed to be in the P12 but is out now due to an injury. And Filthy Generation is going to start a long storyline of losing and then going down to Rev Pro. Aussie Open defeated Dynasty in what is pretty much Dynasty's disintegration storyline, dysfunction storyline. They are kind of imploding, and the final nail will be put in Dynasty's coffin in about 2 months' time. And in our main event, in a loser leaves town, and for the Notorious Pro Wrestling title, it was Pac defeating Grado. Afterwards though, Conor McGregor returned and offered Grado a job as the general manager of Rev Pro, which he accepted. I think a general manager slash part-time wrestler is a good role for him, just like a part-time manager wrestler role is good for him in Notorious. The one thing we are missing down in Rev Pro is a killer promo, and although Grado is probably not a killer promo, he will, I imagine, be the best talker once he is sent down to Rev Pro. So let's take a look at the storylines going forward for the next month. Working from the bottom to the top, so CCK is entering a brand new feud against Epitaph. The reason for this is I want CCK to continue to be at the forefront of Notorious Pro Wrestling, kind of our top babyface faction probably. Plus, to keep CCK winning means that we can make Lyco's Gym one of the top tag teams and top contenders for the tag titles when Aussie Open eventually do lose them to Grizzled Young Vets. And also ties in nicely with Lyco's Gym and Aussie Open having that relationship established already. The P12, I won't go into too much detail about this. I do have a winner in mind. You would be surprised who the winner is going to be, but my choice is not I do not think the winner is the best performer, but storyline wise it makes the most sense for him to win, and I can assure you it will not be a long reign, so it won't. The Dynasty split up angle, as mentioned before, there's about 2 months left of this. At the upcoming pay-per-view We Rise, there will be a tag match between Davey Boy Smith and Zia Brookside versus Tessa Blanchard and Joe Henning, during which Natalya will make her decision on which side of the line she stands on. Then the month after that, at the Obsession pay-per-view, it will be the one-on-one matches, so it'll be DBS versus Joe Henning as a part of the P12. I think they're in the same block. And then Tessa Blanchard versus Zia Brookside just in a match. And then Tessa will win her match, Davey will win his, I think. but Tessa's definitely going to win hers, and Zia will then go down to Rev Pro. Zia is just, she's good. Zia is very hit and miss, and I feel like sometime down in Rev Pro will do her the world of good. Ace, Austin, Kip Sabian, and Mark Haskins. This is also, all three of these guys are in the P12, so it's kind of tying into that storyline. Currently at the minute, Kip has both Vicky and Angelina on his arms, and the way the storyline will go is, I'm actually going to tie into Kip Sabian's, you know, his underrated gimmick that he's doing at the minute with the cardboard box on the head, and he's a little bit crazy. I'm actually going to lean into that. So at the minute he's super bad, which is what his original gimmick was. You know, he's very much a ladies' man, heartbreak kid. But he's going to start showing that he has a couple of screws loose, which is going to then drive Angelina Love and Vicky Haskins kind of back to their respective partners. He'll kind of become creepy and obsessive about it. And then, because he's kind of more towards a creepy, culty gimmick, I might partner him with Jake. In terms of length, I don't know how long that'll be. Maybe 2 to 3 months. We'll say 2 to 3 months. Crazy Mary Dobson versus Maki Ito. This again has a good couple of months worth of material left. The plan will be that Mad Marley Quinn returns at the We Rise pay-per-view. There will be a #1 contenders match involving Mary Dobson, Mad Marley Quinn, and a couple of others. Mad Marley Quinn will win that, and during that match will tease turning face. And then at the pay-per-view, I might go ahead and pull the trigger then, and that'll be Obsession. Once Crazy Mary Dobson is face again, I will then have the Barbed Wire Dolls, which is the tag team of Mary Dobson and Marley Quinn, face Maki Ito and Riho or Maiko. I haven't decided yet. And then during that match, then Mary Dobson will get the pin on Maki Ito, because this whole thing is also, there's been this through line that Maki Ito maybe just can't beat Crazy Mary Dobson, but then in the final match between them, Maki will overcome Crazy Mary Dobson. So there's maybe like 4 more months of this. It's a long storyline. The Prestige versus Aussie Open. So as stated, Grizzly Young Vets will be the next tag team champs, but they won't win it from Aussie Open probably until the end of the P12. I have reasons, and that's probably a bit of a spoiler for who wins the P12. The Prestige will have to pull together before they win the titles from Aussie Open. Jay Lethal versus Claudio Castagnoli. This was originally Jay Lethal versus Will Hobbs, but that has changed with the debut of Claudio. So the plan going forward for this one is that Jay is now heel, wants some muscle, has been trying to recruit muscle. There are several B storylines across the main one of Jay Lethal versus Claudio, but the key points to note will be James Storm is getting jealous of Claudio returning and being best friends with Chris Hero, and that he'll turn heel due to that. Jay Lethal is going to beat Will Hobbs and send him down to Rev Pro at some point. Jay Lethal and James Storm will then kind of reluctantly team together to face Claudio and Chris, thus reforming the Kings of Wrestling, and it will end with that tag match of Lethal Storm versus the Kings of Wrestling. And finally, Connor Desperation. This was originally Grado's Desperation, but it changed. So the crux of this storyline is that Connor is sending all of the longest standing talent in Notorious to defeat Pac. He's going to send James Storm, he's going to send Chris Hero, he's going to send maybe Jody Flee, she's kind of been there from the start, Rich Swann, Carlos Romo, just anyone and everyone to try and defeat Pac. Ultimately, none will succeed, and he will have a change of heart and be like, I've been thinking of the past of Notorious, what I need to do is think of your past and your biggest pains in the side, so I've recruited this person. This person will be Kenny Omega. Kenny has been on our books for ages, we haven't used him at all, it's about time he debuted. So that is all our storylines. No real surprises there. I think the biggest surprise is how long it's been since I've actually debuted Kenny. Kenny's been with us for months, I think. So I mentioned then that the P12 was coming back, and I would show you the blocks before the show, so we'll take a look now. So here is Block A of the 2023 P12. We have Sonico, Ray, Easton Reese, Davey Boy Smith, Joe Henning and Miles Kamen. And then Block B is Ace Austin, Claudio Castagnoli, Mark Haskins, Kip Sabian, Will Hobbs, and Stevie Boy. Remember, this is for the Intercontinental title. This is a mid-card championship. I'm also kind of making it our workhorse championship. So people who are fantastic workers but maybe don't have the mic skills to be up there with the top tier talent. In terms of the finals, I actually don't know. I know who's going to win it. I don't want to say the finals because it makes it obvious who's going to win it. So, yeah. I think you will be surprised who wins it. Because I have talked shit about them in the past. So yeah, I don't know. But I think it's cool. It's nice introducing a mid-card title. I was torn between it. Speaking of the title, this is kind of what it looks like. It is a bit of a alteration on the New Japan Intercontinental belt. I love it. One of the things I hate about doing Notorious is trying to find renders of generic championships with like no obvious graphics on them to make it be like, oh, that's clearly the HOG championship or whatever. So yeah, like finding these belts was very difficult, which is why actually the original Notorious Women's was trash, just because it was the only generic women's I could find. Whereas with this one, I actually went out of the way to Photoshop the logo out and put on something that looks like the Notorious Pro Wrestling, the NPW at the top there. Let's take a wee look at our championships while we're here, sure. So our World or Heavyweight Championship, we could probably call that a World Championship now, couldn't we? It's been defended in Europe and Scotland and England and Wales and Ireland. Surely that's enough to qualify as a World Championship, right? Let's do that. I'm calling it. Boom. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, we've been around. Fuck it. Yeah. So we'll start with the Intercontinental now. It's at the top. Yeah. So first champion coming soon, about March, April time. Very excited to have a mid-card title. Very excited now once we get the mid to bolster the ranks of a mid-card as well. So super excited for that. Tag titles. I think, and this is just my opinion, we did the Grizzly Young Vets a bit dirty with their reign. It only lasted 6 months, no, 4 months. So yeah, I think my problem is I do very long title reigns, so I do, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because it makes it look like these titles have only been around for like 3 weeks. Our women's then, I forgot Viper was our first champion. Tessa had such a monumental reign, nearly a year. Like, I kind of forgot Viper was our first champion, but Maki Ito, a current champion, and is doing just wonderfully. And Pac, our current champion. So let me just take a look. So Chris had it for 6 months. Pentagon had it for over a year. That's a long ass time. And then Pac is currently on about a month with the title. So yeah, I mean, like, I'm very happy with this. And then our P12 as well. We'll have a brand spanking new P12 winner coming same time as the Intercontinental Championship, about March or April. So one thing to discuss now. So the last thing to discuss before we book the show is the news. And there is quite a lot on our side of things, I'll not lie. So let's do that first. As I always say at the end of every episode, put it in the comments and I will try book it for you. And Derek Slater, thank you very much for commenting, mate. I do appreciate it, and thank you for watching. Recommended maybe we should sign Martin Kirby and pair him with Grado. You're gonna fucking get it. I don't know. So as I mentioned, Grado is now down in Rev Pro, and we have signed Martin Kirby. So the Great British Tag League, which is our first tournament in Rev Pro, will be starting this summer. Storyline going into it is that Grado, as the GM, wants to enter but is unable to find a partner. He will hire Martin Kirby as his assistant general manager. Grado is obviously a comedy character. Martin Kirby can also play comedy. Also did a GM role in What Culture Pro Wrestling, WCPW, with his bright pink suit and stuff. So yeah, absolutely, I think they would be very fun together. Another reason why I want Martin Kirby and Grado to tag together is because Grado's stamina is trash and can only really wrestle for 15 minutes. So putting him with Martin Kirby in a tag match, his stamina plays a lot less of a factor, whereas Martin Kirby can actually go. So yeah, they will pair together for the Great British Tag League. and it gives Rev Pro another tag team, which, as I stated before, I feel like that is probably where our weakest point is in Rev Pro, is our tag division. So that is who we signed. Here is who we are negotiating with. Yeah, we fucking went balls out, didn't we? There is reasons to these two. So AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. There is logic. AJ Styles, when you remember, many moons ago when he was first released by WWE, I wanted to sign him. But at the time we were not big enough. When we finally did get big enough and wanted to sign him, he was working for MLW and their TV show ran on the same day as Notorious Pro Wrestling Wanted, a Thursday night. It was only when I was writing notes for this recording session I'm doing currently, I realised, oh shit, MLW went out of business. AJ Styles is free because he only works for Impact and they wrestle on a Tuesday. So I'm going to bring in AJ Styles because he's really fucking good. No, I'm bringing in AJ Styles because our product is very much performance based and AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers in the game. That is not my opinion, although it is also my opinion, it is facts. Plus then also we can do Kenny Omega versus AJ Styles, which hasn't been done before in any other company. Just putting it out there. Cody Rhodes, so I did mention this previously about bringing Cody in. With Dynasty kind of imploding, the new version of Dynasty coming out of the feud would be Tessa Blanchard, Joe Henning and Tully Blanchard as the manager. Joe is not a main eventer. He just isn't. Perfectly fine for the mid-card division, but we needed, for Dynasty to stay relevant, we needed a main event guy. And then Cody popped into my head. Now, Cody does have the better as a babyface attribute. Sorry, amazing babyface attribute. I don't care. He's going to be a heel, and I know he has some fucking hang-up about being portrayed as a heel. I don't care. He's going to be a fucking heel. But I do feel like he is 100% a fantastic talent to have and will slot into the main event picture very quickly. I am reluctant to bring them in because they are Americans and we have a lot of American talent. I know that. There are 3 or 4 British talent kind of coming up from Rev Pro. Jamie Hayter, B. Priestley, Ricky Knight Jr., Brittany Knight's coming in. All these guys are coming in and I think that'll help balance it out. Plus there's certain feuds there as well, like that I think just write themselves. So the Ojimo, for example, Michael Oku, who is portrayed as one of, if not the best British wrestlers on the scene currently. Him against AJ Styles would be a great feud. You know, someone who's considered the best in the world versus, you know, the best of the UK or the best of British. So there's, and you know, Ricky Knight Jr. as well. I think him feuding with Dynasty, you know, about there's only one famous wrestling name, you know, blah blah blah, it's Knight, no it's not, it's Rhodes, yada yada. That also writes itself. So yeah, no, I think there's a lot of cool stuff that could be happening with. Think of it like NXT, where you have indie darlings coming in mixing it with homegrown talent. That's what I want this to be. I want international stars coming in mixing up with UK and Irish stars. Although this doesn't really apply to us directly, we're going into the dark world of the database editor. We're not going to edit anything, but I want to show you guys something. So I reactivated new workers to enter the game without a picture pack. Normally I have it on that no new workers are created unless you have a picture, to stop the database getting crazy and over the top. I did activate it for a couple of months just to kind of see what happened. So 2 months it was open. These are all new people that entered and don't have a picture. Apart from Sergeant Slaughter's there for some reason. I don't know why. So I just want to let you know what my plan is. What I usually do with this is I go through and I alter these guys. Only their name and their status and location and stuff. In terms of their attributes and stats, they stay the same. But I go through and I change them to workers who are active in real life but not in the game. So I've already done it with a handful of people. I can't remember any off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But yeah, so these guys will all become in-ring people, which is why I don't do it for that long. I did not think this many would generate in 2 months, but it has. So I now have to go in and yeah, I gotta go in and change them all. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's move on to world news. A couple of episodes ago I announced that Jim Smallman was released by NXT UK. But it's okay. Progress have taken Jim back, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of really happy about. It's really nice to see Jim back at Progress. I do have a bit of a soft spot for Progress Wrestling and Jim. And then finally for news, Kenta has left Strong Style US. Now this was, of course, as you all know, New Japan US, but they splintered away from New Japan. And yeah, so Kenta has now left. So Kenta no longer works for New Japan or for Strong Style US, which is kind of mental. He now just works for Noah on just a handshake deal. That's kind of mental. Okay, so that is the storylines out of the way, that is the news out of the way, that is the P12 out of the way, that is the recap from last week out of the way. So there is only one thing to do now, and that is book this week's Wanted. So let's do that. And we are back, coming from the Liquid Room in Glasgow, Scotland. It is Thursday Night Wanted. So here is the card. It wasn't difficult at all to book. Will be interesting when we go to medium size, when we get a full 2-hour show. Well, what it'll be like, I will probably add a new storyline onto, I think I book 8 at the minute. Kind of splitting those into 4 per show each week, alternating weeks. So once we get to a 2-hour, once we get the medium, Wanted will go to 2 hours and we'll get 10 storylines, 5 per week. So let's see how this goes. Backstage angle on the pre-show. Jen catches up with Mark Haskins and asks him, where's Vicky? What's going on with Kip? And Mark's like, I don't know. Haven't heard from her since 2 weeks ago. I have no clue. Ace then comes in and asks Mark, yo, I haven't heard from Angelina, have you? And Mark's like, no, why would I? And they kind of bicker and squabble as they walk off screen. 54 rated segment, which is good. Next up in a pre-show match, Zia Brookside defeated Nicole Matthews with the Iconoclasm. Zia at 41 and Nicole at 53. Oh, Zia. Admittedly, it was a wild brawl match instruction, but still, that's dire. And then on to the main show. Connor comes out to the ring and calls out Pac. Connor says he's gone about this the wrong way. He tried to do it himself and failed. But the good thing is he has an entire locker room of people who Pac has pissed off that he can throw at him to take the title from the bastard, including this man. And then lights out and Sonico appears and attacks Pac to get revenge for Pac obviously attacking Sonico and Crazy Mary Dobson and Jake with a chair 2 pay-per-views ago, I believe it was. 75 rated segment. Pac and Connor are very good on the mic. Next up in a squash match, let's be honest, Mark Haskins defeated Ken Malmsteen with a cradle to the grave. 40 from Ken, 57 from Mark, 53 overall, which is good. Next up then, Kip Sabian defeated Dean Allmark with a springboard dropkick. Dean got a 53, Kip got a 66. Man, Kip's good. Kip is really good. All in all, a 63 rated match. Post match then, Ace and Mark come to the ring and try to get their partners to come back with them. Angelina and Vicky then get on the mic and say Ace and Mark seem so fixated on each other that they can have each other. They have found themselves a man who listens to them, who actually cares about them and focuses on them. And then they leave with Kip arm in arms. 65 rated segment, which is good. Considering Ace actually struggled when I must have accidentally put him on, not following a script. Then in a backstage angle from his office, we'll say, Conor McGregor unveils the new Intercontinental title and announces that the 2023 P12 will receive the Intercontinental Championship and reveals the blocks and their participants. 78 rated promo. Then in a superb match, Dynasty defeated Grizzled Young Vets. And then in our main event, in an exceptional match, Pac defeated Sonico in 1805 with the Black Arrow, making it defense number 2 for Pac. Sonico had a 63, which is good, and Pac in the 82, which is crazy. That is crazy. 74 rated match, which is awesome. And they have great chemistry, Sonico and Pac as well. Wow. Just wow. 74 rated show, which is awesome, unbelievable. So no real news then to discuss other than we just finalised the deals for AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes, so they will be joining us further down the line. Next time you guys will join us will be this coming Tuesday, where we will do a Rev Pro episode. The reason we are doing Rev Pro is we have a brand new member joining the Notorious faction. But if you have enjoyed this episode, do leave a like and subscribe to the Bash Bros channel for more Notorious and other shows such as On the Fence, A to Z and Game Club. As always, if you have any ideas for storylines, tag teams, factions, whatever, you name it, put it in the comments and I will try book it for you. And with all that being said, I will see you next time on Bash Bros.